Right, let's not mince words here, gentlemen,
Here we go.
because this movie deserves none whatsoever. Borderlands is 102 minutes of complete, unmitigated dog feces. A wretchedly terrible, horribly written collection of lame, bloodless, tediously protracted action sequences strung together by the most paper-thin, nonsensical excuse for a plot, revolving around a group of one-dimensional nobodies who barely even qualify as characters, played by some of the most laughably miscast actors in cinema, and relentlessly hammered home with appallingly bad CGI and forced, dated, cringe-inducing humour that's about as funny as a terminal cancer diagnosis.
Oh
In short,
my
it's an absolutely
god!
terrible film that shames the very concept of video game adaptations.
Why I hate this shit so bad is because everything that Drinker says about his reviews, I always agree with. I mean, I could like 99%. So I already know if he's laying it down this damn thick, oh my god. And I haven't watched the movie. But when he says shit like this, it'd be the same damn way I would feel about it. And I already felt that way about the trailer. When I saw the trailer, I knew I wasn't going to watch the movie. Fortunately, I have people like Drinker that actually make their content based off of watching the movies for me, so I don't have to watch train wreck bullshit piles of garbage like this onward.
Somehow managing to feel rushed and oversimplified, but also sluggish and dull at the same time. A movie that barely lasted an hour and a half, but honestly felt like it would never end. A movie that I've got the dubious honor of reviewing.
Yes,
right
thank
here.
you, God. Thank
so
you.
abandon
Thank
all
you.
hope, ye who enter here.
Well,
because
cheers,
we're
brother.
about to venture into the living nightmare that is Borderlands.
Cheers, Drinker, for watching the
whatever
bullshit
passes
for
for
me.
a plot centers around bounty hunter Lilith, played by a bored and embarrassed-looking Kate Blanchett, who acts like she signed up for a completely different movie.
Is that her
but
real
we'll talk
face?
more about that later. Believe that. Anyway, after acting like a generic Hollywood tough girl for a while to prove how hard she is, Lilith is contacted by a powerful business tycoon named Atlas. Atlas wants her to travel to the planet Pandora to recover his daughter Tina, who's been kidnapped by a rebel faction, and in return he's willing to reward her handsomely.
That's
Pretty
not the
soon she's on the
backstory.
trail, where she runs immediately into a robot named Claptrap, voiced by Jack Black, who is, without a doubt, the most annoying fucking creation to come out of Hollywood since some asshole convinced Aquafina that she could sing.
Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wham, pick a wham, wham.
Aquafina. Imagine your name being Aquafina. You're named after a bottle of water.
The video game version of Claptrap either, but at least he wasn't too intrusive and even got a few decent one-liners from time to time. This version is like someone locked Jack Black in a sound booth with no script and no prep time and just yelled, "Be funny!" And it went about as well as you might expect. Anyway, wouldn't you know it, Claptrap happens to know exactly where Tina's being held, and after travelling there to rescue her, Lilith discovers that her captors are actually trying to keep her safe from Atlas. See, it turns out that Tina is a cloned recreation of an ancient alien race called the Iridians that once dominated the galaxy, and who left the secrets of their advanced technology behind in a giant vault beneath the surface of Pandora. Only a true Iridian can actually open the vault, which is why Tina was created by Atlas, so that he could steal all the technology inside. That's right, Tina is quite literally the girl who's the key to everything.
Fuck.
Anyway, they go on a couple of fetch quests to find some keys because there's literally no other way to move plots like this along, and they eventually find the vault, but oh no, Atlas shows up to crash the party. Who could possibly have predicted this? Then Lilith turns into a fire demon angel thing.
Why were Jamie Lee Curtis's titties out like that? She's 70-something years old, bro. Put your titties in. Come on now.
And kills all the bad guys because it turns out that she was actually the girl who's the key to everything all along.
Of course she was.
No way!
Didn't
and
know
then she
that!
takes Atlas into the vault and leaves him there to get eaten by a monster. And that's it. That's whatever passes for a plot for Borderlands.
Dude.
You know, thinking about what to criticize in this movie makes me feel like Boogie at an all-you-can-eat restaurant. There's just so many options that I don't know where to begin.
You got frag rolling.
On a purely aesthetic level, this movie sucks in ways that actually made my eyes hurt. The CGI is complete monkey shit, the kind of thing you'd expect from an early 2000s made-for-TV sci-fi movie, with very obvious green screens and completely laughable animation. Combined with cheap, fake-looking sets that look like they were thrown together a couple of minutes before shooting, began, and costumes that your average cosplayer would be embarrassed to put on.
I
and
mean,
you've got all the makings of a visually depressing movie. How the fuck did this thing
Oh,
cost
God!
$120 million? You could literally have made Godzilla Minus One 8 times over for the cost of this turd. The story, like I said earlier, feels like a paper-thin excuse for the next action scene. It's basically just a series of fetch quests leading to the end goal.
So,
find the girl, then find 2 keys, then combine them all together to open the vault and fight off some generic bad guys along the
put
way.
your titties away.
That's basically all there is to it. Also, I get the distinct impression that there was originally a much longer cut of this movie that got butchered in the editing room, which is why there's weird out-of-place narration from Lilith to help plug the very obvious gaps. The film relies heavily on action to keep the audience engaged, but even that doesn't generate much interest because most of the set pieces go on way too long and the complete lack of blood, violence and consequences kills any sense of stakes. From what I understand, the original plan was to make this movie R-rated, which would have been much more in keeping with the spirit of the games. As it stands, the action scenes become just another tiresome thing that you have to slog through. The characters are either annoying or boring as fuck. Or both. I get the feeling that they were trying for a Guardians of the Galaxy style team-up movie, but the difference is that the Guardians were all interesting, well-written, fleshed-out characters whose personal history and motivations actually had an impact on the plot. Their banter was witty and fun, and they all sparked well off each other. Most of the gang in Borderlands get almost no backstory or development, especially guys like Roland and Krieg, who are just kind of there.
Krieg, I'm sorry,
Tannis
not
adds
Frag.
nothing to the story and could easily have been left out, and as for Tina, she's such a simplistic caricature with no actual human emotion that it's tough to feel much of anything for her. She doesn't seem to care too much about anything that's going on around her, and as a result, neither did I. Lilith, on the other hand, falls neatly into the category of tedious, tough-talking, overpowered girl boss. A trope so thoroughly played out by now that it makes the whole movie feel weirdly dated, like it should have come out 5 years ago when this stuff was at its peak. And to make matters worse, she's played by a horribly miscast Kate Blanchett. Don't get me wrong, Kate's definitely a good actress, but playing a tough-talking, hard-as-nails bounty hunter just really isn't her thing.
No.
And at 55 years old, she looks tired, bored, and...
Bro, she's 55? Playing Lilith? No wonder her... Again, dude, look, I'm not going to go into being mean about people, okay? I'm going to try my best not to be mean about other people's appearance because I'm literally on social media right now talking. But when she's 55 and she has less wrinkles on her face than I do and I'm not even 45, that's why your face looks like this and you look like you come out of Battlefield Earth or some shit. Like, that... oh my God, I'm going to let Drinker finish. I'm trying to let him finish.
And kind of embarrassed to be there, and I can't say I blame her. A character like Lilith really feels like she should have been played by a much younger and more energetic actress who can inject some much needed fun and enthusiasm into the part. Blanchett just sucks all the life out of her scenes. Ultimately, I think this film's disastrous opening weekend speaks for itself.
Yes!
Nobody was excited to see it. The cast didn't seem to want
the trailer
to be in
was
it.
shit.
And released as it was into the August dumping ground, it's pretty obvious the studio had no faith in it.
Nope.
Which begs the very obvious question, why even bother making this thing
Why
in the first place? I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't fucking care.
Nope.
My only advice to you is don't waste your money on
God,
it.
thank you.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Oh my God, man. Okay, it took me a minute to absorb that. I'm glad Drinker went and watched the movie. That way I don't have to go and watch the movie. His review, and all he did was talk over the trailer. And he basically told me everything I needed to know and everything that I thought was going to happen. Number one, miscast. What they were showing, the CGI into real life, was completely unacceptable. I don't even know who played him. Jamie Lee Curtis is in her 70s. Why is she out here with her breasts out, exposed? Nobody on planet Earth that is familiar with the character Roland thinks Kevin Hart should be playing Roland. Nobody. The only reason he got this role is because it's Kevin Hart and he probably needed some work. I'm assuming without watching the movie that he was basically Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart in the movie, making the same facial expressions and stupid jokes, and not being Roland. Hathaway, again, I just said that the whole face and plastic surgery stuff. She's in her 50s. The character that plays Lilith should be in her 20s. The character is a young character. That is one of the biggest reasons whenever I see all the movie posters and whatnot, when I see her doing that pose and shit, it completely throws me off. Tiny Tina, the character there actually looks fine. The girl that's playing Tiny Tina, she looks fine. Like, she could pass for Tiny Tina. If I were to see her with the bunny ears and shit on, I'd be like, okay, this girl is fine. It's really not breaking my balls or anything like that. Now, as far as Claptrap goes, anybody that knows anything about the Borderlands franchise knows that the original voice for that character in the game kind of got fired over some dispute about money and shit like that. So he wasn't able to come back and do certain parts, and definitely wasn't able to be part of the movie. So, I guess they just got Jack Black because they wanted to have a famous name on there or some shit like that. That was pointless. But dude, I tell you what, man, what really burns my ass up about stuff like this is being a fan of the game and knowing that it has so much source material in the game to turn into a movie, and all you have to do is follow it and have good casting and literally just follow along. Stop splitting up away from what the game is. That's pretty much all I needed to hear. Go check out Drinker's videos and also sub to his channel because this dude knows what he's talking about when it comes to movies. Anyway, take care. Peace out.